Hi, my name is Boris, and in this video I'm going to show you 3 melodic techno bass lines. If you're a melodic techno producer, you really have to know them. Before we get into the video, if you like what we are doing on this channel, make sure to subscribe. We've got more videos about melodic techno coming up. If you'd like to learn Live 12 with all the foundations of music production, you can see the Beginner to Advanced Live 12 Start to Finish course. Or if you'd like to improve your melodic techno tracks, make sure to see the Melodic Techno Academy, which is your definitive guide to mastering the genre. Alright, so let's jump straight into it. Okay, so I'm going to delete the MIDI from both of these layers. We have 2 layers of this bass. First one sounds like this, and the second one sounds like this. So we have a huge sub and a plucky layer at the top. So let's maybe create a MIDI pattern here, and I also would like to display the kick pattern. So I'm going to split this kick pattern and view it along with the sub. I'm just going to click this kick pattern and hold Ctrl, click the sub, and now I will go into editing. And now, as you can see, we have the kick playing, but now we can also add MIDI notes on the bass line. So we're going to be playing G, actually G0, so a few octaves down. And for the rhythm, we want to pick offbeat notes so that it's very groovy. And we are not really going to be playing the bass when the kick hits. So let's try this at the beginning. I'm going to also solo the kick. Here we can do it in an offbeat position, here, and we can actually loop it. So this section we can loop and we can extend it over, and let's copy it onto the plug and let's listen. And we can also play it with some top elements like some hi-hats. Yeah, I think it works quite well. It's very groovy because we're not placing the notes on the accents. We're just placing them mostly on the offbeat position, and here also on 1.1.2, 1.1.4. So here would be our strong beats, and here would be our weak beats, so we are only utilizing the weak beats here. And bass patterns usually sound very bouncy when you place them in these offbeat positions. Let's quickly take a look at the sound design. So as for the sub, we have a very simple saw wave with the frequency knob on the filter rolled all the way down. So you can see that we are mostly just playing the basic fundamental, a couple more frequencies, but we are really limiting the frequencies just to give it a strong sub. And with the plug, let's listen to it. We are limiting the very low frequencies a bit, so it's mostly covered by the sub. It's just supposed to add a few more higher frequencies to the sub. And we have just a slight amount of reverb to give it a splash of space so that it doesn't sound so dry. Yeah, but it's very subtle in the background. Yeah, and here on the plug we are using a much higher envelope amount, so we're modulating the frequency of the filter much more here. If we disable this, it would be much more like the sub. You can see it's barely audible now. Yeah, but if we increase the envelope amount, we allow much more high frequencies through. Okay, so let's take a look at the second pattern, the sub Octave Groove. And here we have just one MIDI track. I will disable this. I think we can make the grid much narrower, so we can choose even 8 notes here, and we can make a new MIDI clip that lasts 2 kick drums. So let's put a new MIDI clip here. Let's listen to what it sounds like. So we also have a very bassy sound, a sub pretty much, but we're going to be using some octave jumping to give it some more high frequencies, and also we'll make it really bouncy. So this one is going to be in the key of E. We're going to start off with E2. Let's listen to it. I'm going to duplicate it here at 1.1.4, so at the weak beat here. And let's put it a third up. Let's put it on G, and here I'm going to go back to E. Let's listen to it. And I'm going to loop this area, and let's extend it over the entire clip. We have some sidechain going on with the shaper. If you're interested in sidechain techniques, we have a separate video, so I'm not going to go into setting up shaper. Mostly what's going on here is we're once again doing a groovy pattern by using offbeat MIDI notes. And here we have a minor third. So our scale would be E minor. If we fold the scale, then you can see that E and G are a minor third apart. And it's even more bouncy because we are jumping the octaves. As for the sound design, we're letting more of the saw wave through here with the frequency knob down to 135, but we're also using quite a bit of the envelope on it. So without the envelope, it's also going to be very, very subby. And now with the envelope, one other thing we are doing is just limiting the highs here, because it will sound like this. And this way we're creating a bit more space in the mix, but we could also let it through if no other elements are playing. It's a matter of fine-tuning really, but you should be fine with the cut around 300 Hz. We are saturating the signal slightly, but that's pretty much it as for this sub sound. Okay, so let's take a look at the last example. We have the classic rolling bass line. I'm going to remove the MIDI notes from these tracks. Here's what our MIDI tracks sound like. This is our rolling bass, and then we also have a sub. Okay, so let's maybe stick with the rolling bass, and we'll copy the MIDI pattern onto the sub later. Let's create a new MIDI clip for 1 bar or 4 kick drums. And now once again, we are not going to be using the accents, we're only going to be using all the other 16th note spaces. So we are not using these spaces, we are using these. Okay, so actually if we delete the accent, we already have a rolling bass line. Let's hear it. But we could make it more interesting. Let's go down to G2, so an octave down here. And we're going to add a minor third here. Okay, so we have the G minor scale, and a minor third will be like this. And we can also extend this over the entire length of our pattern. And let's also copy this pattern onto the sub. Let's play it with all the rest. Very classic pattern, really widely used. And we're still doing sidechain here, so we are still ducking the first notes a bit. So the kick drums are always playing on strong beats, we are not even playing any notes on the strong beats. And yeah, we're filling up the space with this very rhythmic, very robotic bass. But it's really nice, it's really powerful, it's common, it's very common in melodic techno tracks. And the minor third at the end just adds a bit more character. Let's take a look at the sound design of these layers. So the rolling bass actually is using all of the analog layers here. We have one saw wave, then another saw wave playing 2 octaves above of it, but we're just mixing it in slightly, and then we have some noise also playing, and all of this together makes up for a really nice patch. It sounds very warm with the noise enabled, and this second oscillator just adds some nice upper harmonics. We could actually increase this. You can just fine-tune this to taste. And as for the sub, we're just using a sine wave 2 octaves down. So it's very simple, we're just saturating it a bit, and we're using the shaper in the volume pump rack to just add this pumping effect on top of it. And the same volume pump is on the rolling bass. So let's hear it once again. One of my favorite melodic techno bassline patterns. Alright, I hope you will find these bassline patterns useful, and if you'd like to learn Live 12 with all the foundations of music production, check out the Beginner to Advanced Live 12 Start to Finish course. If you want to improve your melodic techno tracks, make sure to see the Melodic Techno Academy, which is your definitive guide to mastering the genre. All links you'll find in the video description. Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, write a comment, and I will see you in the next ones.